We are back in City Skylines for, I think, episode 8 or something like that of building the city of Providence. And we had a fire last time we were playing, which wound up creating a lot of empty space right here in the downtown area. And that was a tragic event, but also perhaps a great opportunity for us to do something new and interesting. And as we build out the lore of the city, well, real cities have experienced a lot of tragic fires, like the Chicago fire that did devastating things to the town, or New Orleans, which has reinvented itself in the last number of years. I guess 20 years, is that the case? I don't know how long ago it was. It was a while, though, when Hurricane Katrina went through and completely decimated so much of New Orleans. It is crazy, though, when you say 20 years, huh? 20 years have passed since New Orleans had its horrific hurricane. Pretty crazy. I remember that. Didn't seem like it was that long ago. I was a teenager at that time. It is crazy how time passes so quickly and leaves us wondering, what exactly is even time? I think maybe one of the most eye-opening things you can think about is the idea that time is not really what we imagine it to be. Time is like it's like a page in a story. You go from one page to the next, and you imagine that it's a different place, but really it's all part of the same story. And so maybe that's comforting if we imagine that we're just living our story that is greater than any one of us written in time since the beginning of time. I just accidentally deleted that bus route because while I was talking, I was deleting something. And I did not mean to delete the bus station. I was trying to delete that abandoned building. Anyways, replace the bus station and put one here with bicycle stands. That is a new development, being able to create bus stations with bike stands. Pretty cool. Anyways, we had the fire. We deleted the abandoned buildings, burned down buildings. We created a skyscraper, and we built a new hospital to address the large number of casualties which had happened as a result of the fire. And I do want to start naming some buildings, maybe not on my videos that I'm recording. Maybe I'll do some of that in my own time, but I think we'll call this Mercy Hospital, because there is a Mercy Hospital chain which exists here in the Arkansas area, I think down in New Orleans as well. And we're going to have to think about, like, what company should this tall building be named after? And I know there's some fictional company from in-game that's inhabiting it. At least I think there is. It's the law accounting. But we're going to name this after some major corporation that will become the prime occupant of that building. I don't know what it is, though, yet. Anyways, I was thinking about building a rail line which will run from near where this train station is, straight into the heart of downtown. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if the main station was right here in the circle? We have named it Magnolia Circle just because it sounds kind of cool. But imagine if we had maybe even a surface street that would connect to the middle of this by overpass so that cars could easily access it, but it would also be a pedestrian hub where we'd have people getting off the train. Not really a regular train. It'll be a tram, I think. Not super sure. I believe so. Because trams can run on streets, but they don't have to. So if we do that, we have to start off by creating a tram depot. And I don't know where I want to create the tram depot. I could put it over here near the train depot, or we could maybe put it out over on the edge of town. Like I could see that, like maybe out here in this undeveloped space. Like that kind of makes sense to me. We could have a tram line that runs all the way up and across the freeway, stops over there, and then goes downtown. That is a possibility. Not sure if I love that though. Kind of thinking maybe like right there. Maybe I'll buy one more map tile. Don't want to get too out of control with buying map tiles just because I know they can start to get expensive after a while, but I think we can do it right here. We'll put our new tram depot there. Kind of just have some fun with it and see how it all goes. And that enables us to have the tram running down the surface street here. However, I think I want to do something a little bit different here and take the tram off the road. I don't mind deleting some industrial areas, so we're gonna just kind of do that, demolish the industrial zone there. And then maybe we can go into a more elevated style of design as the train makes its way, the tram rather, makes its way across the freeway and into the heart of the city. Now, it doesn't need to take a completely straight route. It can kind of wind its way through. I am vaguely reminded of the of the sounder that ran through Seattle. Connected the airport to the downtown area. And a lot of that was elevated. We have a lot of industrial areas here, so again, I'm not going to worry too much about the path it takes, because it's fine if we wind up demolishing some industrial zones. Now here we have these tram stations. One of them is a loop station. I think that's what we want, because the tram isn't going to necessarily, at least for right now, it's not going to run all the way through downtown. It'll stop right here in the middle of this circle. And I think what we're going to want to do for that is we're going to elevate the terrain inside this traffic circle. Maybe something about like that. We're just going to have to play around with it to get a feel for what'll work and what won't. That's fairly centered. We need a road that'll run in front of it. And with that elevated terrain, I think we can create an overpass that entirely bypasses the traffic circle. Now I wonder if we could put another road right in the middle of this avenue. Or maybe up here. That'd be kind of interesting. Don't know. We're gonna maybe experiment a little bit with it here. Yeah, I think that does actually work. We can create an elevated road that kind of straddles this empty space. Definitely looks kind of interesting. Now we're gonna pause the game because this is the part where a little bit of reworking that highway exchange area is gonna happen. Don't want to mess up people's lives too much while we're doing this. I don't know if I want to do a... See, I might want to just do a surface street here. For some reason, the game wants to create sort of a roundabout there. Which is not really what I wanted to do. So that works out about the way I wanted. I think we're going to have to possibly delete that side street there. Only problem with that is we have a bus route running along it. So we're going to want to be careful about eliminating it. But what we maybe can do is create a sort of a diagonal road there. And that'll allow the bus to route along that road instead of this one. What do we got here? What is this? Oh, that's just a normal industrial building. It's going to take us a minute to get this right, but I think it's going to be fairly cool when it's all said and done. What is that building? Oh, it's the gas station. All right, there we go. That is approximately what I was trying to do. Now we can add a little bit of function by merging that street directly with the highway. All right, so now we have an elevated road which goes into the middle of town, connects that tram station, and now we just have to find out where where's the other end of it going to wind up going. And I kind of think what we're going to do with this elevated street is we're going to let it run all the way up to where this hospital is, because that'll be kind of a nice another nice entrance to the city. It'll look really cool. And since we have an alternative pedestrian access point here with this walkway, I don't know if we necessarily would need it to be need that road to be a pedestrian street. We might just make it a freeway, actually, all the way through. So having a limited access freeway that goes all the way into the middle of town could be a good thing. Unfortunately, there's this weird little bug where if you attach a street to an overpass, it just doesn't really work. Like it does, it functionally will work. People will be able to access that walkway, but visually it looks stupid, so. If you care about the aesthetics of it at all, you just don't want to, you don't want to do that, so. For some reason, this is not working out for me. Probably because for some odd reason, the game decided it had to add a roundabout. I just didn't like the curvature of that road. Kind of seemed slightly off to me. All right, that's better. I definitely like that. Like that more. And now I should have enough room to create the pedestrian path I was hoping to make. This path is just a little bit oddly angled, so we will rework that as well. There we go. That's a lot more respectful looking. So now people can access this road if they wish. I don't know if I want to add another access point by street. Maybe we will leave this as a surface street. That way people can walk along this road. Because if we wanted to, we could let that be a limited access freeway, but I think that's going to be kind of not really what I want to do. it does feed into a limited access road here, which kind of makes me feel like I want to do something like to create an intersection there, just so that people are able to kind of enter and exit as they wish. Not super sure. I wonder if I could do it there. Maybe. Yeah, I think I can. I can create a overpass here. And that gives pedestrians an opportunity to get on and off. So our limited access freeway actually will end right there. Now, all that being said, I don't like the curvature of this on-ramp. So we're gonna work on that a little bit more. That, all right, that's a little bit better. I still don't quite like it. I think I gotta finagle with it a little more, just because, you know, a little bit of perfectionism. By vegetation cutting through there. I guess you just can't, you can't just fix one thing and not fix a bunch more things. I have a weird sort of a ripple in the road there. Thankfully the game is paused, so all of this adjustment is not damaging our traffic flow. That's a little bit better angle for merging. Now we can go back to fixing this. Finally, we'll add some trees and some grass here. I guess that's bike lanes. Bike lanes, all right. My bad. Well, we'll add bike lanes all the way down there. But I do not want traffic signals in the roundabout. So we're going to have to do a pedestrian path over here. And I'm trying to avoid demolishing existing structures if I can, but I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid. Maybe I can. All right, there we go. That actually looks all right. A little bit awkward, but it's a pedestrian path that allows folks to get across the traffic circle. And now we'll just make sure that we have power and water going to that building. We do. All right. Well, that took a little bit of time and effort to get that figured out. Guess we're not out of the woods yet, though, because we gotta figure out how to get the tram out of here. And I'm trying to avoid demolition. But we're probably not going to be able to avoid some of it. Something is going to have to get demolished. Possibly. Unless we can build directly above the street here. Which might work. Getting a overlapping items warning. I don't know what is overlapping though. That's the question. I don't see anything overlapping that would prevent me from running that elevated train through there. But that's all right. It's probably just because it can't figure out where to put the support pylons. So we couldn't avoid demolishing at least one building to make way for the train. But that's all right. It's all right. We won't worry too much about that. Unfortunately, can be super finicky sometimes. But once we get it figured out, it'll be pretty cool. I was trying to just change the direction of that. Apparently I can't. Can't change the direction of the rail track without deleting it. For some odd reason. There we go. I don't like the angle of that. We're gonna try to work on that just a little bit more. All right, that's better. I know that's not necessarily perfect, but you know, we don't have to be perfect. We won't let the perfect become the enemy of the good, as the saying goes. So I think what we're going to do now is we'll let the tram run above this surface street. Then we'll see if we can turn. Right here and send it running along that avenue. Make our final connection right there. That actually looks pretty cool, in my opinion. Unpausing the game. We have power. Go ahead and add some bike routes here. And no parking. There should not be any parking happening on that street. A little bit more bicycle friendly. We'll bring our smoothing tool here to take some of those rough edges away. Of course, people are trying to park here. Maybe what we should do is we should add a parking structure over here. Just because I can imagine people would want to be able to come in and park and then take the tram. So there's a parking structure so people can park, and then they can use that pedestrian footbridge to make their way up to the station. And we'll add some more bushes and trees to try to fill this in, make it look a little bit more finished. You never have too many trees. Never too many trees. And it looks like I did forget to make one connection here. I'll have to go back, fix that up. I wonder if we could have a roundabout up there. We can. That's cool. Definitely a very interesting entry to the city. And we'll want a bus to stop there. I don't know how. I guess what we're going to want to do is put the bus station right there. Then we're gonna have to remove that stop and that stop to make our adjustments to the bike route. I mean, to the bus route. Because now the bus will run something like that. And we can add a stop right there, which will help a little bit. So now the rail line is connected to the bus. Put a tram stop here. Tram stop there. So we have a couple of them in town. Or maybe 3. I guess we could have 3 tram stops in town. 4. And that'll be the extent of our tram line. We'll just have 4 stops by the train station, which connect that part of town directly to the central portion of downtown. Maybe we should put stop on both sides of the street. Or I guess we can create a loop, because I kind of want the tram to be able to go full circle. So Now I think we got it. One more attempt to finish drawing out the line. All right. And now we are in business. We have the city's first tram, which will connect downtown to the train station and the neighborhood that is south of town to downtown. And here we have what appears to be our first tram leaving the station. Each tram can hold a total of 240 passengers. So we'll just ride along with it and observe it as it makes its first maiden journey. We don't have any citizens waiting at that stop. There's a lot of transit programs like this that exist in real life, which wind up being kind of not very heavily utilized, just because, for whatever reason, it sounds really good to an urban planner, but then where the rubber meets the road, people don't really use it all that much. There's our first passenger right there. One passenger was picked up. Still only one passenger. Now we don't have any more stops until we get to the circle. But to be fair, we really didn't build this route because it was needed as much as because we wanted to create a sense of history, a sense of uniqueness in this city, and I want the road layout to tell a story. So this helps to make it feel like it's, you know, it's not just a copy pasted kind of a grid that's just like everything else. And it will ultimately help with capacity needs down the road. It just probably isn't going to be all that big of a deal yet, because our city would have been just fine without needing a tram station at this particular moment. As the city grows, though, it'll probably become more useful. So we dropped off our first passenger, and that's about it. So let's take a look and see how many people do we have waiting at various stops. We do have a few passengers, but we don't have more than 3 people waiting anywhere. We'll go ahead and speed things up just a little bit. It could take, it could be that it just takes a few a few trips around before people kind of realize that it's a thing and they start to show up. Because we do have some people riding. Like there's a car running 11 passengers. There's a car running 20. So now we're starting to pick up more people. We have 11 people riding now as we make our way back into town for our first full loop. We have 18 people riding. And now we're starting to get some more serious ridership. 25 people riding, 29. 4 people brought their dogs. There's 5 dogs on board. Now we have 38. And 41. 78. Wow, look at that. 78 people riding. That's pretty crazy. So I guess people are definitely starting to decide that they want to ride the tram. But having that quick express service from the suburbs to downtown is, you know, kind of a game changer potentially. And now we have 10 people making the journey back. Running about 5% usage, 6%. Not an enormous amount of usage, but we definitely are getting some usage out of it. So I'll take it. Pretty happy, all things considered. I think it looks nice. I like the story it tells. I like the way it connects the south part of town by the train station to downtown. And then I think it also opens up a lot of possibilities for us to create more tram lines that maybe go to other parts of the city in the future. And it does something fun with that traffic circle, which I wanted to develop in a way that would be meaningful and interesting. And it's just an interesting kind of a rework to what it's like to come into the city for the first time. You know, and we have these pedestrian overpasses that do a pretty good job of helping connect multiple areas without making people cross any busy streets. So bus station here seems to be doing very well. Lots of people riding that bus station. It's right there. So people can ride the bus, they can easily make their way to the tram station, they can find their connections by train pretty easily. I guess the last thing we'll do is to revisit this street right here and take away the parking. I wonder if I could do, you know, I can. Let's do a bike. If I can. I was going to say, let's do a bike. Yeah, a bike lane. I guess I can do a bike lane. Yeah, I can. Let's do it. We'll make that the final thing we do. To create another bikeway. Adding bike lanes to the industrial area might help with commuting through there as well. I guess you can never have too many bike lanes, right? Right, that ought to do it. A lot more bike lanes, and that's where we will leave this episode. An investment in tram architecture for the future. 32,000 people living here. In the next episode, I suppose we'll probably go back to working on the downtown area, since it could probably use some more development. Still looking a little bit sparse after that fire, but better connections will help a lot with traffic, and we will have more traffic as the city begins to mature. So, leaving it there till next time. Thanks so much for watching.